what's the need for the biodiesel? As many people might have covered this topic. Anyhow, let me refresh it and then we'll go to the topic. So, the main need for the biodiesel is the faster depletion of the petroleum reserves, the increasing prices of the fossil fuels, stringent emission norms, and to save the foreign exchange, we have to go for the biodiesel. And not only the biodiesels, we can go for the alternative fuels. And among the alternative fuels, the biodiesel is the promising one. So I have taken biodiesel as my fuel for the research. And the major advantages of the biodiesel is it is having high CT number, biodegradable, renewable, and non-toxic. It contains no aromatics, no sulfur, so there is no problem of the acid rain. And it contains 10 to 11% oxygen by weight, so which is useful for better combustion. And it helps to improve the self-economy of any nation. And and it is easy to portable and it is readily available and it is underutilized. So we can make use of this biodiesel as an alternative fuel. And the biodiesel is not readily available and it is available as a non-edible vegetable oils. And that vegetable oils have to be converted into biodiesel by means of acid esterification or base esterification, and according to that the iodine values. Okay, so this is the um, introduction regarding the biodiesel usage in the ICE engines. Then the drawbacks of the biodiesel is it contains lower energy content as the fuel has the oxygen in its in it, so it has a lower energy content and is slightly viscous and it is inferior. It has the inferior brake thermal efficiency and more NOx emissions. So when you are going for using the biodiesel as a fuel in ICE engines, so the NOx emission is the major problem that is incurring. So we have to identify the ways and means to reduce the NOx emission from the biodiesel fueled engines so that it can be used for a longer period. Okay, so without any problems. So that's why my project aims to reduce the NOx emission from the.
Pandian sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Sir, little louder, sir.
Oh, okay, sir. Okay. So this project aims to reduce the NOx emission from the biodiesel fueled CA engines, sir. So I have selected the fuel as a Bongomia biodiesel, and why I have selected this one is it is available throughout the India, and it is underutilized, and a high yield of Bongomia oil from the seeds, tolerant to high salinity because it can be grown in any locations, and it can be grown in the waterlogging areas. So it is a non-edible. Okay, that's why I have chosen this Bongomia oil as a fuel for my work. And there are many ways and means to reduce the NOx emissions, and them are they are the modification of the engine parameters, then recirculation of the exhaust gas, and usage of CTN improvers, and the use of the retrofitting devices. But I have taken only the modification of the engine parameters as a topic for the discussions today. Okay, by controlling the in-cylinder combustion process, because you know very well that as a academician we know very well that the NOx emission can be found only at the very high temperatures. At a lesser in-cylinder temperature, the NOx emissions will not be formed. Only at the higher in-cylinder temperature only that the NOx emissions are found. So we have
Sir,
to
excuse me, sir. Pandian,
yes,
sir.
sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, sorry to interrupt you, sir. Participants are saying that your voice is not audible, sir.
Oh, I will check, sir, but 1 minute, sir.
For
I will,
I think system setting I have increased.
I will check it, sir. I will check it.
Okay.
It is full, sir.
Mm.
The volume is full. Now is it
Okay.
audible, sir? Is it now audible, sir?
For me, it is okay, sir. For me, it is okay.
Okay.
I am using an earphone. It is okay. I don't know. Many participants has given a comment on in the chat box.
Okay. I don't know where
Okay,
is
sir.
the
Okay,
problem.
sir. Okay, sir. Okay.
I don't know
Continue,
where
sir.
is the problem. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So,
Let us see, sir. Let us see. Proceed, sir. Please, sir.
okay. Mm. So in this presentation, I have chosen that the modification of engine parameters as the topic for discussion, and by controlling the in-cylinder combustion, we can able to reduce the NOx emissions. So why the modification of the engine parameters? Because the existing engines are not designed for the biodiesel usage. It has been designed only for the petrol fuel usage, petrol diesel, okay, usage. So the parameters that can be modified are the bore, stroke, that is engine size, and then the compression ratio, then fuel injection parameters like injection timing and injection pressure and the nozzle tube protrusion. So, but here in our research, I cannot go and change the bore size and stroke size and the compression ratio, because it is during the design stage itself, it has to be done, not at the later stage. So I am not going to change the parameters like bore, stroke and the compression ratio. But however, I can able to change the fuel injection parameters like injection timing, injection pressure and nozzle tube protrusion. So hence, I have considered the injection timing and the injection pressure and the nozzle tube protrusion are the parameters subject to modification. Okay. Then, so the objective of this work is to conduct the test on the compression ignition direct injection engine using the different blends of the biodiesel with the petrol diesel such as B0, B20, B40, and B60 and B80 and B100, and to obtain the optimum blend and the baseline data. So as you know very well that B0 indicates it is a fossil diesel, and B20 indicates 20% biodiesel mixed with the 80% diesel, conventional diesel, and B40 means it is 40% biodiesel mixed with 60% conventional diesel. So like that, the combinations have been formed. And what's the necessity for this one is to find out the best blend at which the engine works better. Okay, at which the engine works better and it is giving higher efficiency and lower brake specific energy consumption. So we found that in our experimental study, I found that the B40 is the best suitable blend for usage in the existing engines. So I have chosen by B40 as my biodiesel blend for use in the ICE engines. And here, and I have chosen that the injection parameters it is subject to change. And in order to study in many major research articles, that they have studied that the individually the effects of the injection timing and injection pressure and the nozzle tube protrusion, but they have not studied the combined effects of the injection pressure, injection timing, and the nozzle tube protrusion. So I have that's why I have chosen that. I am going to study that the individual and as well as the combined effects of the injection system parameters on the diesel engine employing Pongamia biodiesel diesel blend as a fuel using response surface methodology based experimental design, and to determine the optimal values of injection system parameters where improved performance with the lesser NOx emissions are obtained. Okay, so I have used response surface methodology based experimental design. So yeah, here I have given that the literatures that I have gone through. Okay, and in almost all the literatures they have studied that they have studied by a methodology of one variable at a time approach, but in order to study its combined effects, I have gone through that because the combustion is a complex phenomenon, so we need to study that the effects of that is the combined effects of all these parameters. So to study that the combined that is multivariate problems, there are many textbooks available, such as fuzzy logic, neural networks, and the design of experiments. But in this work, I have chosen the design of experiments as a tool for studying the combined effects. So why I have chosen that the design of experiments is because it is the most efficient and economical and user-friendly tool, and it provides the best result with the less number of experiments. Okay, so that's why I have chosen that the design of experiments as a tool for studying the combined effects. So this is the experimental design procedure. So we have chosen the parameters, that is injection timing, injection pressure, and the nozzle tube protrusion. And these are the input parameters. And what are the responses that I am going to get is the brake specific energy consumption, brake thermal efficiency, carbon monoxide emission, unburned hydrocarbon emission, smoke opacity, and nitrogen oxides. Okay, so here I have chosen these parameters and it has been varied at different levels. So I have chosen the 5 levels of variation in injection timing and injection pressures, and 3 levels of variation in nozzle tip protrusion. That is, the injection timing variation levels are 18-degree crank angle before top dead center, 21-degree crank angle before top dead center, and 24-degree crank angle before top dead center, and 27-degree crank angle before top dead center, and 30-degree before crank, that is 30-degree crank angle before top dead center. So these are the static injection timings, not the dynamic injection timing. Okay, and the injection pressure levels are 150 bar, 175 bar, 200 bar, 225 bar, and finally 250 bar. Okay, the nozzle tip protrusion levels are 1 mm, 2.4 mm, and 4 mm. Okay, and here the experimental design matrix was developed using the design of experiment software design expert of the version 7.1.5 of the USA, which contains 50 experimental runs inclusive of the 2 replications. Inclusive of 2 replications in order to ensure that whether the same result has been obtained or not. So for that purpose that we have 50 runs with the 2 replications. So the experiments were conducted as per the run order. A multiple regression analysis was carried out to obtain the coefficients, and the equations can be used to predict the responses. Using the statistically significant model, the correlation between the process parameters and the several responses were obtained. Finally, the optimal values of the injection system parameters were obtained with the help of the desirability approach of the response surface methodology. So the desirability approach is the technique that is used for the optimization of the injection system parameters. So in this work, all the experiments were conducted at an economical load of 80%. Though the engine can be run at the full load, that is 100%, but I am not able to get that the maximum benefits at the 100% load. So I am limiting my experimental work at the 80% of the maximum load, and at the rated speed, that is 1400 RPM, and with B40 as a fuel, because I told already that the B40 blend is giving best results compared to other blends. So I have chosen that the B40 as the fuel blend for my study. And this is the experimental design matrix. Okay, and this design has been obtained with the help of the response surface methodology. That is a historical design of the design of experiments, and the experiments have been conducted as per this run order. So totally around 50 runs that we have taken, and with the 2 replications, And this is the input parameters, and these are the responses: brake specific energy consumption, brake thermal efficiency, carbon monoxide, and unburned hydrocarbon, smoke opacity, and NOx. These are the various responses that I have got. And these 2 indicate the performance parameters, and these are the emission parameters that has been taken to study. So this is another 10 experiments, and the values have been given here. And this is another 10 experiments. So the experiments have to be conducted as per the run order. As per the run order, we cannot keep one variable constant and changing the other variables. Every time the variables are being changed, okay, then and there, and then the experimental works have been conducted accordingly. Likewise, so the 50 runs were there. So the 50 runs, the experiments have been conducted, and it took almost 1 month for conducting all such experiments, because we cannot able to change the pressure in our laboratory itself. So the injection injection nozzle has to be taken to that that is a fuel injection service center, and where the pressure is changed with the help of by tightening or loosening that the nut that is held over the compression spring, okay, of the nozzles, and it has been varied, and this injection timing has been varied by either increasing or decreasing the number of SIMs added below to that of that okay that is that injection pump, okay. And this is the nozzle tip protrusion. Again, the nozzle, injection nozzle, either it is held below that, okay, it is held over the SIMs. Normally, that one SIM will be there, okay, and we can, by means of increasing the SIMs or by means of removing the SIMs, the nozzle tip protrusion length can be changed. Okay, so like that, the variations have been performed. And this is the test facility that I have used for my study. And this is the engine specifications. It is a engine made by Rocket Engineering Corporation, Kolhapur, Maharashtra. This engine is available in NIT Trichy, and it is a twin cylinder engine with a rated power of 7.5 kilowatt at 1500 RPM. The cylinder size is 80 mm bore and 110 mm stroke, and the compression ratio is 17.5. And injection timings, it is a set parameters. Injection timing is a 24-degree crank angle before top dead center, and set pressure is 200 bar, and the nozzle tip protrusion is 2.5 mm, and the cooling method is water cooling, and the injection method is direct injection method, and the air intake method is the naturally aspirated engine. Okay, this is the engine specification that I have used. And this is the uncertainty analysis for the various instruments I have used in the laboratory. So digital ammeter indicator, it is having an uncertainty of plus 0.5% to minus 0.5%. And similarly, digital voltmeter and the digital optical speed sensor having the uncertainty levels of plus or minus 0.5%. And the fuel injection pressure is plus or minus 1%. And the fuel injection timing angle is plus or minus 0.5 degree crank angle. And the digital temperature indicator has the uncertainty of plus or minus 1 degree Celsius. And the brake specific energy consumption values are having the estimated uncertainty of plus 2.6% to minus 2.6%. And the brake thermal efficiency uncertainty is found to be plus or minus 2.1%. So these are the uncertainty values estimated for different instruments used in there is a different instruments, and as well as the different parameters arrived. Okay, these are the estimated uncertainties. And this is the exhaust gas analyzer used and its specification. And I used AVL 555 dye gas analyzer as an instrument for measuring the exhaust emissions. Okay, and here the range and the resolution and accuracy have been mentioned here. Okay. I think it has been covered by many people, so I don't want to repeat the same again. And this is the models of responses that I have developed, because during the experimental design and when you are posting the responses, and several models for the different responses have been obtained. So this is the model that I have developed for the brake specific energy consumption, and this is the model that I have obtained for the brake thermal efficiency. Okay, and this is the model obtained for carbon monoxide emission, and this is the model obtained for unburned hydrocarbon emission, and the smoke capacity, and as well as for the NOx emissions. And this is the ANOVA table for our experimental designs, and here this is the model for all these things. Okay, and this is for the individual individual timing, that is for injection timing. A best model will have it is less than 0.0001, and here what is this values is the values of R squared values. Okay, the value of R squared. And similarly, this BTE for all the models, for the best results, we can have that the value should be less than 0.0001. Okay, so here when the values are less than 0.0001, then we can say that the model is significant. The model is significant. Otherwise, we cannot say that the model is significant. So now you please notice that the nozzle tube protrusion, here the values are in all the cases, the values are greater than 0.0001, 0.0001. So which means that the nozzle tube protrusion doesn't have any major impact on the engine characteristics. Okay, engine characteristics. So it has been ignored. Okay, from the model we found that when the values are less than 0.0001, then we can say that the models developed are significant. 1 minute. Yeah. So now you please see that when you compare that the nozzle tip protrusion, because here this L represents the nozzle tip protrusion, it's here the values given are it is more than 0.0001, which indicates that the models developed for this nozzle tip protrusion are insignificant. Okay, so it is not giving a better results. So we can ignore this nozzle tip protrusion from our discussions. Okay, so and then here this is for the individual effect on the different parameters, but we can see that the combined effects. Okay, combined effects of different parameters, that is nozzle injection timing and nozzle injection pressure. Here BSC is very significant. BSCC model is very significant, and the brake thermal efficiency model is slightly significant, but CO emission model is insignificant. Here I stands for insignificant, but SC emission norms is slightly significant, and the smoke capacity model is insignificant, and the NOx emission is also it is slightly significant. Okay, whereas here the values of injection pressure and the combined effects of injection pressure and the injection that is a nozzle tube protrusion on BSCC it has it doesn't have any significant impact. Okay, and similarly in the brake thermal efficiency. Sir, I am unable to hear because somebody is asking some doubt, I think, but I am unable to
No, no,
hear
sir,
it
sir, I am
properly.
muted, sir. I am muted, sir. They have faultly, I think they have unmuted, sir.
Okay, okay, okay. No issues, sir. So, okay, I am ready to clarify at the end of the session, sir. Don't mistake me.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir. Please,
okay.
sir. Please proceed, sir. Okay, sir.
So the brake thermal efficiency model is the values are more or less equal, so it is highly significant. And the other parameters are not giving the best model, so it is they are insignificant. And similarly here for all the parameters, there is nozzle injection timing and nozzle tip protrusion, and similarly, okay, the timing square and then pressure square and L square. We have seen that the models, okay, and here during the model development, only the significant models or parameters only taken into account, but insignificant parameters have been ignored during the model development, because here I have given no that model equations. So only here during the models of the responses developed, I have taken only the significant model values, not that the insignificant model values, and that's why the models of the responses have been developed accordingly. And this is the evaluation of the models. Okay, and here for each models we have estimated the mean, standard deviation, then model degree, then R squared values and the adjusted R squared values. And we found that almost all the models developed for the input parameters and as well as for the responses are the quadratic models. Okay, and the standard deviations and similarly the mean values have been noted down. Now, with the help of this 3D graph, we can study or we can get an idea of the effects of injection timing and injection pressure on the brake specific energy consumption. Okay, brake specific energy consumption. So here again, I want to mention here that here all the graphs have been plotted for a nozzle tube protrusion of 2.5 mm. Okay, because that the other values doesn't have any significant impact on the parameters So I have neglected the change in the parameters of this nozzle tip protrusion. I have considered only the effect of the injection timing and injection pressure on the brake specific energy consumption. Okay, so here you please note that as the injection timing is retarded, okay, as the injection timing is retarded, the brake specific energy consumption is increasing. Okay, it is increasing. And similarly, with the increase in the injection pressure, this brake specific energy consumption is getting reduced. Because as an engineer, at lesser fuel, we must have the better efficiency or better results. So if the values are lesser, then we are very much, that is the brakes specific energy consumption has to be come down. Okay, so that only lesser amount of fuel can be consumed for producing the same power. Okay, so here with the retardation of the injection timing, here the brake specific energy consumption is increasing. Okay, and with the increase in the injection pressure, here the brake specific energy consumption is getting reduced. Okay, so this is the effect of injection timing on injection pressure on brake thermal efficiency. Okay, so here brake thermal efficiency, please note the brake thermal efficiency is maximum at an injection pressure of 225 bar. Okay, and again at injection timing of 21 degree. Okay, 21 degree here we can have that the highest brake thermal efficiency. So whereas at 30 degree injection timing and all, you can see that the brake thermal efficiency values are changing according to that injection pressures. So when the injection pressures are increasing, okay, injection pressures are increasing, the brake thermal efficiency is also increasing, but at the pressure of 250 bar, you may notice that there is a decrease in the brake thermal efficiency. Okay, and similarly here, toward by retarding the injection timing, we can get that the lower brake thermal efficiency. So only at 21 degrees, okay, here it is reducing, okay, it is reducing by increasing that or by reducing the crank angle injection timing. Here this value, the brake thermal efficiency is reduced. And similarly, this is the effects of injection timing and the injection pressure on the CO emissions. I hope that it is okay. It is readily, easily you can able to understand or understand the theory behind it. Okay, because as mostly we may be mechanical engineers with the thermal specialization. I hope. Okay, you can readily understand the causes of such a parameter. Okay, okay, causes of such things. So here again, please note that with the increase in the injection pressure, okay, with the increase in the injection pressure, the CO emissions are lesser. Okay, CO emissions are lesser. But again, it is up to 225 bar the CO emissions are being lesser. Whereas at 250 bar, we may notice that there is a slightly increase in the CO emissions. And similarly, the CO emissions are very high at 18 degree, okay, at 18 degree crank angle before top dead center, whereas at 30 degree crank angle injection timing, here the CO emissions are lesser, okay, and we can see that the combined effects, okay, we can also visualize the combined effects of the injection timing and the injection pressure with this graph. And this is the NOx emissions, the effects of injection timing and injection pressure on the NOx emissions. So again, you please note that the NOx emissions are very high at pressures of 250 bar and 225 bar, and similarly at crank angle injection timing of 30 degree crank angle. Whereas at the 21 or 18 degree crank angle, the values are being found to be lesser. Okay, the NOx emissions. And this is the effect of injection timing and injection pressure on the smoke opacity. Okay, so smoke opacity will be higher at lower pressures, and similarly at okay, at this values at 30 degree. Okay, whereas at 18 degree and 21 degree only the values will be maximum, whereas at 27 and 30 degrees values the smoke opacity is being found to be lesser. So this is again a graph showing that the impact of injection timing and injection pressure on the unburned hydrocarbon emissions. So the unburned hydrocarbon emissions are very high at 18-degree injection timing and 150 injection bar pressure. Whereas at pressure increases, the unburned hydrocarbon emissions are being reduced. And similarly, the values of the crank angle, okay, advances, the crank angle advances, here the LC emissions is also lower. Okay, and again now you please note that from this graph onwards we can say, as I told, no, the nozzle tip production doesn't have any major impact. Okay, we can have that the same kind of graphs that we can see that only at the 2.5 nozzle tip protrusion that we may see that the lowest emissions, whereas in other okay, whereas in almost all the parameters are having the lower values at the 2.5 whereas at 2.5 and at 1 and as well as at the 4 of nozzle tip protrusion that we are having that the major maximum emission. And similarly here, with the increase in the injection pressure, okay, with the increase in the injection pressure, here the VSC values are found to be lower. Okay, found to be lower. Again, similarly, this is the curve on BTE. Again, as I told you, only at 2.5 of nozzle tip protrusion, we can have that the maximum values. At other ends, here you may notice that there is a lower, lower values. And similarly, this is for the CO emissions, HC emissions, and for the NOx emissions. And this is for the smoke capacity. And then here in the earlier first we have discussed the effects of injection timing and the injection pressure. Then later we have discussed about the effect of the combined effects of injection pressure and the nozzle tip protrusion. But here we are going to see that the effects of injection timing and the nozzle tip protrusion on the brake specific energy consumption. Yes. So now we have seen that we are now the experimental part is over, and we have obtained the values and we have developed the models. Now we must find out what is the optimal values at which the engine can produce the maximum efficiency and it consumes at the lower brake specific consumption and it is producing the lower NOx emission and as well as all the emissions have to be lower. Okay, that is the main objective of us. So we are going for now the optimization part. So although the goal of this work is to reduce the NOx emission without any significant influence on the brake thermal efficiency, because we must have, we always wanted that the brake thermal efficiency have to be the maximum one. And if the brake thermal efficiency is maximum, then automatically the NOx emission will be higher because only at the better combustion only that we can have that the better thermal efficiency. So when the better thermal efficiency is introduced, then the NOx emissions can be higher. Okay, that's because of the significant mechanism that is taking place. But we want to reduce the NOx emissions without any significant influence on the brake thermal efficiency. So there is a paradox between the BTE, that is brake thermal efficiency, and the NOx, as both of them either increase or decrease together. So hence, it is essential to optimize the injection parameters in such a way that the NOx reduction is appreciable without much impact on the brake thermal efficiency and other emissions. So in this work, the optimization was performed using the desirability approach of the response surface metrology. So in the software itself, we can have that the numerical optimization and the technique that they are using is the desirability approach. So why we are choosing that the desirability approaches? It is a kind of numerical optimization, and it is very simple to use, and it is available in the software itself, and it is flexibility in weighing and weighting and giving importance for individual response. Okay, that is the biggest advantages of this desirability approach. So in this desirability approach, all the output parameters, that is the responses, are transformed into non-dimensional quantity called the desirability value, which ranges between 0 and 1. Okay, so all the output parameters such as the CO, HC, NOx emissions, and okay, and the smoke capacity, everything have been transformed into the non-dimensional quantity called the desirability value, which ranges between 0 and 1. If the value is, if the desirability value is equal to 0, then the response is completely unacceptable. And if the values of the desirability is equal to 1, then the response is mostly desirable. Okay. So the goal of each response can be either maximize, minimize, or target, or in the range, and or equal to, depending on the nature of the problem. Because okay, the goal of each response, because here in the desirability approach, we can have all such combinations: maximize, minimize, or in the target, or in the range, and are equal to, depending upon the nature of the problem. As you know that we must minimize the break specific energy consumption, and we have to maximize the values of that is the break thermal efficiency, and we have to minimize the CO emissions, and we have to minimize the uh, unburned hydrocarbon emissions, and as well as we have to go for minimizing the NOx emissions. So these are all the our target or our goal. So the best option is the desirability approach, and which can be used for all such combinations. So for a goal of minimum, the value of D, desirability value of D, can be calculated by, here di is equal to 1 when the value of yi is less than or equal to li, where di is equal to 0 when yi is greater than or equal to hi. And the formula for di is given here, that is hi minus yi divided by hi minus l, and power of weight I. Okay, power of weight I. And this formula can be used only when the value of yi is in between the range li and hi. That is, here I stands for, okay, here the value of I stands for the iterations, and L stands for the lower value, and H stands for the higher values. Okay. Okay, I stands for the any parameter. Okay, if you are taking the say CO emissions, so in the CO emissions, what is the lowest value and what is the highest value, and what is the value that you are getting? Okay, that is the Y. Okay, that is the value of Y. So that you have to substitute here and find out the values of I. So this value, this formula can be used only for goal of minimum. Okay, only for a goal of minimum, you have to use this one. And for a goal of maximum, the value, okay, we can use this formula. That is di is equal to yi minus li divided by hi minus li, okay, power weight I. Okay, weight I. That is, here the di value is equal to 0 when the value of yi is less than or equal to li. Okay, when the values of, okay, when the values of yi is less than or equal to li. Whereas when the value of di is equal to 1, when the value of yi is greater than or equal to hi. So this formula can be used only when the values of yi is in between these two ranges. Okay, when this in between these two ranges. Okay, so this is the formula that can be used for, this is for the minimum goal and this is for the maximum goal. So for a goal of target, if you want to have only this much, this is the value. So in that cases, the formula that can be used is this di value is equal to 0 when yi is less than li, and similarly when yi is greater than hi. Okay, and when the value of yi is in between this range, then di can be found using this formula. And when the value of ti is less, sorry, when the value of yi is in between this range, then we can use this formula. Here, this ti stands for the targeted value. Okay, so here I indicates the response, y represents the value of the response, and L represents the lower limit of the response, and H represents the upper limit of the response, and T means the target value of the response, and weight indicates the weight of the response. I will tell you what's the weight. Okay, what do you mean by weight? Okay, so this is the various formulas that is used for finding the desirability values depending upon the goal. For the targeted goal, this is the formula that you can use, and for the minimum goal, you have to use this formula, and for a maximum goal, you have to use this formula to find out the responses, desirability values. So what is weights and importance? So in this desirability approach, weights are used to give more emphasis to the lower or upper bounds. Okay, we want to have very much lower value. So in that cases, we must go for giving that the weights. And the weights can be ranged from 0.1 to 10. Okay, the weights can be ranged between 0.1 to 10. But a weight greater than 1 gives more emphasis to the goal, and weights less than 1 gives less emphasis. Okay, say for example, if you want to have that the maximum, that is break thermal efficiency, so in that cases you can go for giving the values of the weight as 10. Okay, or if you want to have that the break specific energy consumption is the lowest one, so in that cases you can give the weight as the 0.1, or in the middle range if you want to have it, then you can give 1 or 2. Okay, like that you can give that the weights. So depending upon the cases, okay, depending upon the cases that we can change the values of weights from 0.1 to 10. So where weight greater than 1 gives more emphasis to the goal, weights less than 1 gives less emphasis. When the weight value is equal to 1, then the desirability function varies in a linear mode. Okay, if it is equal to 1, when the values of the weight is equal to 1, it indicates that the desirability function is varying in a linear mode. So for the problems involving the multiple response, okay, multiple response means that is different parameters. Then the overall desirability function can be calculated by, okay, this equation, that is capital D is equal to, that is the sum of I1 to N, then DI into R, okay, power Ri, then whole power the 1 by sigma Ri. Okay, so here what is that R is, in the overall desirability objective function, each response can be assigned and the importance. Okay, in the overall desirability objective function capital D, that each response can be assigned and the response R related to the other responses. Okay, related to the other responses. So importance varies from the least important value of 1 and indicated by plus, and the most important value of 5 indicated by 5 plus. A high value of D indicates the more desirable and the best functions of the system, which is considered as the optimal solution. Okay, please note that importance varies from the least important value of 1 to the most important value of 5, and a high value of D indicates the more desirable and the best functions of the system, which is considered as the optimal solution. So the optimal values of factors are determined from value of the individual desired functions, and that maximizes D. So the individual functions, the individual parameter have been found according to the this given formulas. Okay, according to the goal of minimum and the goal of maximum and the goal of target, we can find out the individual desirability values, and these values have been summarized here to get that the overall desirability values. Okay, capital D, and this is called the overall desirability function D. So now you please note that this is the optimization criterion used in our desirability approach. So here the parameters of the response is the injection timing, and it is given in a crank angle degree before top dead center. The lower limit value is 18 and the upper limit value is 30. Okay, and the lower weight is given as 1, and similarly upper weight is given as 1. Okay, so weight is we are giving as a 1. Why we have given as a 1? When the weight is given as 1, because here you please note, when the when the weight value is equal to 1, the desirability function varies in a linear mode. So I think here, though we didn't find any non-linear variations, here the values are varying in a linear mode only from the graphs we found. So here I have given the weight value is 1 for all the cases. Okay, here I have given the lower weight is 1 and similarly the upper weight is 1. And the importances I have given as 5. Okay, the value of importance I have given as 5. So what do you mean by this? That is more emphasis. Okay, we are giving that the more emphasis, for that the importance is given as 5. And the criterion is the value of, okay, the value should be within this range. Okay, it is in the range. The values, that is the response that we have to get, that have to be within this values. The optimal values have to be within this lower limit of 18 and the upper limit of 30. So that is the criterion. And the desirability value that we need to have is 1. Okay, this is the our desirable action. Then similarly, the injection pressure, here it is varying from 150 bar to 250 bar. And here also the parameters are changing linearly. So I have given this the lower weight is 1 and the upper weight is 1. So the importance given is 5, and it is also the values the optimal values should also be within this range. Okay, and the desirability is 1. And similarly for the nozzle tip protrusion, here the lower limit is 1 and the upper limit is 4. So the weight given is 1 and 4. Okay, 1 and 1, and the importance given is 5, and it is within this, again the optimal values have to be lie in between this lower and upper limits, and the desirability is given as 1. So because since it is the input parameters, we need to give that the desirability values. Okay, we need to give that the desirability values. So now after giving that this is the input conditions, now we are going to have that the responses. Okay, now we are going to have that the responses. That is for the responses, the break specific energy consumption values, and it is given in megajoules per kilowatt hour. The lower value is found to be 16.07 and the upper limit value is found to be 19.58. So from where I have chosen these values? I have chosen these values from our experimental design matrix. Okay, experimental design matrix that I have chosen this, what is the least value and what is the highest value, that I have marked here. Then I have given the lower value because this break specific energy consumption should be minimum. Okay, it has to be minimum. For a minimum model, okay, the lower limit has to be for a minimum model. So if you please here, please note, the weights can be ranged from zero point 0.1 to 10, and for here you please note that a weight greater than 1 gives more emphasis to the goal. The weights less than 1 gives less emphasis. So here I have given a 0.1. That means that it is less emphasized. It is giving that it is less emphasized. Okay, so the value is less emphasized. So sorry, here the lower, because it is minimized. So I have given it as a lower weight is 1, whereas the upper weight is 0.1. Okay, because it should not be, okay, it should not be maximum. It is to be the least one. So I have given that the upper weight is 0.1 and the lower weight is 1. And here importance have been given as 5. Why I have given the importance as 5? Because if you are going as because the importance can be varied from 1 plus to 5 plus. So I have given the maximum. Okay. In order to give that the more emphasis, I have given the maximum values. So our criterion is the value of this BSEC have to be minimum. Okay, have to be minimum. So the formula that can be used for such condition is for minimum goal. Okay, for a goal of minimum. So this formula has been used to determine the desirability values. Okay, so and it is found to be 0.98. So similarly for a break thermal efficiency, and it is the least value, okay, lowest value, and this is the upper value, uppermost value, that is 26.59. and it is a lower limit because we want to have that, we need to have that the more thermal efficiency. So the lower limit value weightage is 0.1 and upper limit weightage is 1. Okay, and similarly importance is 5. Here the maximize because we want to have that the more thermal efficiency. So the criterion for the optimization is that the maximum. So and accordingly the formula has been chosen and it has been used, and the desirability value obtained is 0.97. So similarly for CO emissions, HC emissions, and smoke emissions and NOx emissions, okay, and I have used chosen because here generally the emissions have to be very less. Okay, emission from the ICE engines have to be very less. So I have chosen that the minimum model for all these parameters. Okay, and more importance have been given, and less weightage is given in the upper side, upper limit side, and higher weightage is given in the lower limit side because we want to minimize that all these emissions. Okay, so I have found that the desirability values of the CO is 0.96, and for HC we found that it is 0.97, and smoke capacity is 0.97, and the NOx emission is 0.96, and the combined, the overall disability function for this experimental is found to be 0.98. Okay, 0.98. Now we got to choose. Now we got to choose, and what is the optimal parameters? We got to find out that what's the optimal parameters. So optimum parameter and validation. So from the desirability approach, we found that an overall desirability value of 0.9 was obtained at the optimum injection pressures of parameters of 21-degree crank angle before top dead center and 225 bar injection pressure and at 2.5 mm of nozzle tip protrusion. So how this has been obtained is from the software itself, that we can find out that this 0.98 optimal values or desirability values obtained where, okay, from this software itself we can notify it. There is 21-degree crank before top dead center and 225 bar injection pressure and at 2.5 mm of nozzle tip protrusion. So this is how we can able to find out that the optimum parameter. And once the optimum parameter is obtained, now we have to validate whether the result obtained is correct or not. So for that purpose, again at these parameters, that is injection timing of 21-degree crank angle before top dead center and 225 bar injection pressure and at 2.5 mm of nozzle tip protrusion, again the experiments have been conducted. Okay, again the experiments have been conducted. So the experimental values are, it is the actual values, that is 14.46 brake specific energy consumption and 25.21 brake thermal efficiency and 1.51 volume percentage for the CO emission and 65 ppm for the unburned hydrocarbon emission and 67% smoke capacity and 221 ppm for the NOx emissions. But the predicted values from the, okay, from the optimum, here I have found the optimum parameter, no, and that value that we have predicted using the software is 14.13 and 25.39 and 1.48 and 64, 66.6 and 215. Okay, 215. So now from this we have estimated the error analysis. Okay, so this is the actual value minus this one divided by actual value into 100%. If you put that, then we can find that the deviation is, that is error present in these values are in the experimentation is 2.33% for brake specific energy consumption and minus 0.71 okay percent for the brake thermal efficiency and 2.03% for the CO emission and 1.56% for the HC emission and 0.6% for the smoke capacity and 2.79% for the NOx emissions. So here all these error calculations are within the prescribed limits. Okay, within the prescribed limits. So we can come to the conclusion that the desirability function or desirability approach is giving the best results. Okay, so from this experimentation. So here this is the graph for the desirability values. Okay, so here the desirability value is obtained at this case. Okay, prediction value is 0.98. Okay, 0.998 to and this is the values at a different combinations. Okay, this is the value of the D at a different combinations, but the maximum value is obtained at this case. For this case, what is this value of the crank angle injection timing? It is 21. Okay, degree crank angle before top dead center, and here the pressure is 230, but here it is slightly less than this, so it is 225 bar. Okay, and the graph has been plotted for a nozzle tip protrusion of 2.5. So here you please note that it is the software that is used for finding that this. Okay, finding this optimal values. Okay, this is the software that I have used. Okay, design of experiment, design expert, version 8.0.4. So summary of the findings. So the brake specific energy consumption, CO, HC, and the smoke capacity decreases with the advancement of the injection timings from 18-degree BTDC to 30-degree BTDC, but the brake thermal efficiency, NOx emissions were increased. So with the increase in the injection pressure from 150 bar to 225 bar, brake thermal efficiency and NOx emissions increased with a decrease in the COHC and the smoke capacity and brake specific energy consumption. So when the pressure raised further, there was a negative trend to that of the previous one, because here when the high pressure is there, then the penetration, okay, the penetration of the fuel will be more, and that is reaching the other end of the surface, and that's why it is not undergoing that the combustion process, and hence that there is a, okay, there is a increase in the CO and the HC and the emissions when the pressure is at the 250 bar. Okay, as nozzle tip protrusion is concerned, the brake specific energy consumption CO and HC and the smoke capacity were higher at 1 mm and 4 mm of protrusion, with a decrease in the brake thermal efficiency and the NOx emissions. So with regard to the interactive effects, the injection timing and the injection pressure had a strong influence on the several responses than the other combinations. So compared to injection timing and injection pressure, the nozzle tip protrusion has the very less effect. Okay, but with reference to interactive effects, injection timing and injection pressure has a strong influence on the several responses. So the summary of the finding is the optimal injection system parameters are found to be 21-degree crank angle before top dead center of the injection timing, and the 225 bar of the injection pressure, and 2.5 of the nozzle tip precision can be the best, the optimal injection pressure, that is okay, injection parameters for the biodiesel operations. Okay, again here I have found that this is the optimal values for the B40 blended fuel. Okay, B40 blended fuel at the economical load of the 80%. Okay, at an economical load of the 80%. So thank you. So now, if any participants have queries, I can ready to attend, address your queries. Participants, you can raise your question.
So participants, any questions?
Sir, you mentioned about the nostril tip protrusion.
Yes, sir.
How it is possible that you are changing the nostril, changing the injector itself?
So actually, sir, if you can, if you remove the nozzle, that is injector nozzle from the engine injector, okay, that is the injector. If you remove it, and below that injector there will be sims, okay. That is sim means disc size, disc shaped plate will be there, and you can remove that plate. By removing the plate, the nozzle tip protrusion can be enhanced. By adding the plates, we can okay, we can reduce the nozzle tip protrusion value. Okay, so by means of changing the disc size, disc shaped the plates, we can increase or decrease the nozzle tip protrusion values.
Okay.
Dr. Pandian, sir, Professor Pandian.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, one participant has put in the chat box
Okay, sir.
how to change the injection pressure and timing. You can explain, sir, please.
Okay. Sir, the injection pressure, see, if you see that the cut section of the injector, you can notice that the fuel will be coming, okay, um, fuel will be coming, and the fuel will be introduced into the combustion, that is a cylinder, only when the pressure of the fuel is more than that of the pressure exerted onto the nozzle. Okay, so when the injection pressure is lesser, then the nozzle will not lift. Okay, it is closing the passage. It is closing the passage, and through which that the fuel will be introduced. And again, and here in the case of the injector, okay, there will be a stem, and it is enclosed in that the stem is enclosed in the compression springs, and the compression springs, it is tightened, okay, or it is limited. The that is the variation in length of the compression spring is controlled by either tightening that the nut held over it. Okay, so if the by means of changing or either loosening the nut, that is called the lock nut. By loosening the lock nut or tightening the lock nut, you can vary the injection pressure. Okay, but normally we cannot because during the variations that should be a pressure sensor that has to be connected to that the springs. So then only we can able to monitor the pressure. Not the facility cannot be available in the laboratories. You can remove the injector from the engine and you can take it to the fuel injection service center. And if you give it, and if you want to, if you say that I want to have a 250 bar pressure, then they will set the pressure and they will give it to you so that you can change the injection pressure. And with reference to that, the injection timing also, okay, injection timing also, okay, in the case of the engine, okay, that you may notice that that is the lift pump is there, okay, lift pump will be there, and the lift pump, it is mainly used for the airlock, okay, because since it is a diesel engine, for airlock purposes that you can have it. And again, in the case of the injector, okay, in the case of the injector, and you can change the injection timing by means of adding similar nozzles, but it is not a disc of so much thickness. It will be available that again the sim, it is available in 1 mm, okay, or 1.5 mm and 2 mm, like that. In that thicknesses it is available. By changing the number of sims, okay, we can able to change that the static injection timing. And normally that if you change the one, or if you remove one sim of 1.5 mm, sorry, 1 mm, then you can have that the change in the timing of around okay, that is around 3 degrees, okay, 3 degrees crank angle, okay, that is the calculation that we have. So by means of changing the number of sims, okay, you can change that the injection timing of the fuels. I hope I
One more,
addressed it. Yes,
one
sir.
more doubt.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned about d is equal to 1 is acceptable, d is equal to 0 is not acceptable.
Yes, sir.
When it is not acceptable, what about these experimental readings you have obtained?
1 minute, sir. I will go to that slide.
Uh, experimental design matrix.
In the experimental design matrix, sir.
Yes, sir.
Here or so this is the experimental design matrix, okay. This is the experimental design matrix, and here we have found that the T values. T is that the crank angle values in degree crank angle before top dead center, and this is the injection pressure values in bar, and this is the nozzle to protection values. But here we can say that the values that we can take it, okay, values we can take it, but here only thing is that here we have developed the models, here we have developed the models. Okay, there is a point, say VSEC equal to 28.45, minus 0.24 into T minus 0.07 into pressure minus 2.08 into L plus 7.53 into 10 power minus 4 T into PR plus 1.09 into PR square and plus 0.42 into L square. So now you please note that here we have a combination of T into PR, but we didn't have the combination of T into L, and similarly we didn't have the combination of PR into L. Okay, the main reason is here in this case of the break specific energy consumption, we have ignored that interactive effects mainly because that doesn't have the interaction is insignificant. How we have obtained is by means of this one. So now you please note break specific energy consumption. So here the PR into L value, here the values are greater than this 0.0001. So it is insignificant. So this is ignored. And similarly, the effect of T into L, and that is the combined effect of the injection timing and the nozzle to protrusion is significant. And similarly, the effect of the nozzle, that is the injection timing is also insignificant. So these combined effects have been ignored during the model development. During the model development, other significant parameters have been chosen for the model developed. Similarly for all the cases. That is the answer for your question, sir.
One more question, sir. Numerical optimization.
Yes, sir.
Numerical optimization.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
You mentioned D is equal to 1 is equal to, it is acceptable. D is equal to 0 is not acceptable.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. If it is not acceptable, what can we do, sir? Because based on these experimental results only, we are plotting this one.
That means that is giving you the where there is abnormal results. Okay, that is giving you the abnormal results that cannot be tolerable. That is the meaning. Okay, that cannot be tolerable because the CO emissions can be higher and HC emission. You can get the readings, but the readings may not be useful for our future usage. Okay, so definitely you have to go for changing the parameters. Only that is the meaning of that, whether the model is acceptable or unacceptable.
Okay, sir.
Any other questions, sir? Okay, thank you.
Hello, sir. Professor Pandian, sir.
Sir, you please collect the feedback from the participants and tell me, sir, how it was.
Okay, sir. Definitely, sir. So anyway, sir, if there are no other questions from the participant, we can close this session, sir. Before closing, I thank Professor M. Pandian for giving a nice presentation on the desirability approach to get the optimized engine parameters, namely in terms of injection timing, injection pressure, and nozzle tip protrusion for biodiesel applications. So the topic is slightly, you can say, out of the box like thing. So it is very useful, and you got the people working on the optimized conditions or engine modifications will be definitely useful one. So thank you, Professor Pandian, for your presentation.
Thank you, sir, for giving me the opportunity to share my knowledge on this disability approach among the participants. So I'm really thankful for giving me the opportunity, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So participants, today I think we can end the session 15 minutes before, and we shall meet tomorrow morning, third day. And I hope you had a very good learning experience today. Okay, good learning. Thank you for joining us today. So we shall meet tomorrow. Thank you.